It was a bright afternoon when Emma rolled her wheelchair into the cozy corner of a downtown cafe. She had spent hours getting ready, her soft pink dress, light perfume, and that hopeful smile she practiced in the mirror. Today was special, it was her first date in over 3 years. The man she'd met online seemed kind, funny, and genuinely interested in her. But as she waited, glancing at her phone every few seconds, doubt started creeping in. The other tables were filled with couples laughing, clinking coffee cups, while she sat there, alone, trying to believe he would come. Minutes turned into an hour. The waiter passed by a few times, offering polite smiles that couldn't hide the pity in his eyes. Emma's coffee had gone cold, untouched. She checked her messages again, nothing. Her heart sank as she realized she had been stood up. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she forced a smile, refusing to cry in public. She told herself maybe there was an emergency, maybe he'd call. But deep down, she knew. It wasn't the first time someone disappeared after learning she was paralyzed from the waist down. As she prepared to leave, her trembling hands struggled to turn her wheelchair. Suddenly, a small voice broke through her silence. "Hi, are you a princess?" Emma looked up to see a little girl with big brown eyes and golden curls, holding a melting ice cream cone. Beside her stood a tall man in a sharp suit, watching his daughter with an amused smile. "Lily, don't bother the lady," he said softly. But Emma laughed through her sadness and said, "That's the sweetest thing anyone said to me today." The man smiled warmly and introduced himself as Daniel. He was clearly someone important, confident, polished, yet his eyes carried kindness instead of arrogance. He noticed Emma's untouched coffee and asked if she was waiting for someone. She hesitated, then admitted quietly, "I was, but I guess he's not coming." Daniel's smile faded. He looked at her with genuine empathy, then motioned to the waiter. "Then maybe you'll let us join you. I think my daughter just made a new friend." Emma hesitated but couldn't refuse the innocence in Lily's wide eyes. They sat together, and for the first time that day, Emma felt seen. Daniel asked about her interests, her work, her favorite books. There was no awkwardness, no pity, just conversation. Lily giggled as Emma told her stories about drawing and painting with her service dog nearby. The cafe that once felt like a place of humiliation now echoed with laughter, and Emma's heart began to lighten. Daniel shared that he was a single father, a CEO who rarely had time for himself, let alone dates. But when he saw Emma alone, something pulled him to stop. "I've been where you are," he said softly. "Alone, waiting for someone who never shows up." His honesty surprised her. He didn't look like a man who knew pain. But the way he said it, with quiet sincerity, made her realize everyone carries unseen scars. As they talked, Lily tugged on Emma's hand and asked, "Can you come to the park with us after this?" Emma smiled, her heart fluttering at the innocent invitation. "Maybe another day," she said. But Daniel insisted gently, "Why not today? It's a beautiful afternoon." He helped her maneuver her wheelchair outside, careful not to overstep, only offering help when she nodded. It had been so long since someone treated her with such effortless respect. At the park, Lily ran ahead, chasing butterflies while Emma and Daniel watched from a shaded bench. They talked about life, about how people underestimate those who are different. Emma admitted how hard it was to trust after being abandoned by friends and dates alike. Daniel listened, truly listened, and said, "People's actions say more about them than about you." His words sank deep into her heart, healing a small part she thought was gone forever. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in shades of orange, Daniel turned to her. "You know," he said, "most people spend their whole lives chasing someone who makes them feel seen. But you have a light that people like me spend years trying to find." Emma blushed, unsure how to respond. For the first time, she felt beautiful, not despite her wheelchair, but simply as herself. Lily ran back with flowers and placed them in Emma's lap. "Now you look like a real princess," she giggled. They stayed until the park lights came on. Daniel walked Emma to her car, where she thanked him for the unexpected kindness. "I should be the one thanking you," he said. "You reminded me what genuine connection looks like." Before she could reply, Lily waved and said, "See you tomorrow, right?" Emma laughed softly. Daniel smiled and said, "If you're free, we'd love to take you to dinner." Her heart skipped a beat, but she nodded. That night, as Emma lay in bed, she thought about how a day that began with heartbreak had ended in hope. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing: fate had a strange way of turning pain into something beautiful. She whispered a small prayer of gratitude before closing her eyes, her lips curved in a quiet smile. The next evening, Daniel and Lily waited outside her apartment in a sleek black car. Daniel stepped out, opening the door with a gentleman's grace. He didn't look at her wheelchair, only at her face. At dinner, they talked as if they had known each other forever. Emma shared her dreams of opening an art gallery for disabled artists, and Daniel promised to help make it happen. "Not as charity," he said, "but because the world needs to see your strength." Weeks passed, and their friendship deepened. Emma became a part of Lily's little world, painting together, laughing together, and slowly rebuilding her faith in people. Daniel admired her resilience, her creativity, her kindness. One evening, as they watched Lily fall asleep, he whispered, "You changed my life, Emma. I thought I was rescuing you that day at the cafe, but you rescued me." Their story spread after a cafe customer had unknowingly taken a photo of that first meeting, the CEO with his daughter beside a woman in a wheelchair, all smiling like old friends. When it went viral, people called it the day kindness sat down. But for Emma and Daniel, it was simply the day two broken souls met and began to heal each other. Years later, at that same cafe, a familiar wheelchair rolled up to the same corner table. But this time, Emma wasn't waiting alone. Daniel held her hand, and Lily, now a teenager, took their picture. On the wall behind them hung a painting Emma had made titled, "Unexpected Grace." It showed a little girl, a stranger, and a woman in a wheelchair, all illuminated by the same light. Sometimes, love doesn't walk in, it wheels in when you least expect it.